So now I've added in one extra statement. Okay, so now I have three statements, P, Q, and R. I added in, the statement I visited Guadalupe Mountains National Park, which was part of our trip, and we did visit that. So now I've got three things. Of course, again, I've mentioned before, the actual statements are not as important when we're dealing with a truth table because we're looking for options. So now I've got a third column, third simple statement to incorporate. And in addition to that, I have a complex statement that I'm working toward. I want to get to this goal here. I want the statement, the negation of P or not R and Q, okay? So that's the statement I'm trying to get to, the complex statement. Now you build these up part by part again, starting with the least dominant connective and building up toward the most dominant. I'd probably go with the not R first, then the or, then the negation here, and then the and, okay? It's kind of working our way in the parentheses and then out of the parentheses, just like the order of operations, like you would in mathematics, right? Inside out. But there's another thing to consider here. When I build the truth table with two simple statements, I've got 4 rows. Remember, the number of rows, or the number of options that you can have, the different combinations, is always 2 to the n, where n is the number of simple statements. So 2 to the n in this case is 2 to the third, because n equals 3, and 2 to the third is 8. So I need to double my number of rows. So to do that, usually I will rewrite these. And I could simply just rewrite those down below, copy and paste. But actually what I like to do is start out kind of with a pattern here. I do half of my rows true for P and then false for P, and then half of each of those true, false, and then half true, false, all the way down. So you're kind of getting all the combinations matched up without missing any. And I don't have to go through and pick out, okay, I got a true and a false, do I have a true, false, do I have any other true, falses, did I duplicate? You can kind of get the pattern, and you can guarantee using the pattern that you're not going to duplicate or miss anything. So if I know I need 8, then I do 4 and 4 for the P. So I have true, 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 false, 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 false. And of course I need more space here. Good enough. Now with Q, within each of these chunks, I take half of them and go true, false, true, false. So true, true, false, false, true, true, false, false. Now notice I have 2 of each option up there, right? I have 2 true truths, I have 2 true falses, 2 false truths, and 2 false falses. When I incorporate the third column, it'll uniquely identify each of those 3 combinations. So with the R, each of these true truths, I'm going to make sure one gets a true and one gets a false. And that will complete all the options where I have 2 truths, true, false. Then I go true, false, true, true, false, false. Yeah. And then I go false, true, true, false, true, false. So you get a true, false on each of these combinations: false, false, true, and false, false, false. Okay. So that gives us all of the 8 possible combinations of true and false with those 3 statements. Okay. Now, as I start to build this up, again, I'm going to go inside out. So I'm going to go with the not R first. Not R. I'm going to run that down. Remember, negations are always the opposite of the column that they come from. So it's going to be false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true. So that's the negation of R. Now I want the disjunction with P and not R. I should say P or not R, right? The disjunction. So I look at the P column. Oh, let's write it out. P or not R. And so I look at the P column, I look at the not R column, and with the disjunction, I need both to be false in order for the disjunction to be false. Everything else will be true. Okay, so P, not R, I need both to be false. I'm just kind of going down, I'm skimming down. Aha, right here. I've got a false and a false. So that's going to be false for a disjunction. Not here. Aha, here I have a false. And here I don't. Okay? So I've got two falses. Everything else will be true in this column because all I need is one of the two parts to be true in order for the whole thing to be true. Okay? Next, I'm going to negate that, right? The next most dominant connective will be this negation on the outside of the parentheses. So I want not P or not R. Oops, boy, my vertical line became very non-linear. Something like that, okay? So now I want the negation of the previous column. So we're going to have false, 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 true, false, true, false. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take that column and I want to put it in with a conjunction with Q. So it's this prior column and Q. Both have to be true. So, right, conjunction means and, so I need Q, which is this column, along with this column here to both be true. So not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one, this one. That's what the fifth row. So that's going to be true. I should write the statement, not P or not R, and Q. Yeah, whatever. Close enough. So those two are true, not there, not there, not there. So there's only one case where that's a true statement, and everything else is false. So false, 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 false. Now it might be nice to have some horizontal lines in here. It's getting a little bit messy. In fact, I'm pretty much not even working horizontally. It's going downhill fast, right? But you get the idea. Basically, it's this row is the only true row. So in order for my complex statement to be true, it must be the case that P is false, Q is true, and R is true. So in order for this statement to be true, I have to have not visited Big Bend, but I would have had to visit Carlsbad and Guadalupe in order to make that true, okay? Everything else, any other combination would have made this final statement false, okay? Now, of course, it's not the case. We did visit all three, and so that statement would have been false. However, like I said, the only way to make that true is to get a false, true, true combination of those three.